So, real quick before we start, uh, has anyone here ever made power lines for dioramas?
I have once. They came out half decent.
What did you use for the wiring?
You know what Easy Line is?
Maybe I don't know. It's like
Okay, so
little tiny
basically,
metal wire.
look up after we're done recording. Berkshire Junction. It's a railroading brand, but basically what they make is it's called Easy Line, and it's this fiber, right? It's like a string, but it's made of some sort of, I think, plastic. The thing is it's extremely elastic, so you can stretch it up to like 700 times its original length, and it won't break. It's some ridiculous number like that. So what you can basically do is, you glue the wire to one pole, right? Then you can stretch it out as long as you need, and then you just glue it down to the other one. And it's very in scale. It looks very good.
I will get that next time. I've got guitar string for mine now.
Yeah, I mean it's not cheap. I don't think. I think
No, it's fairly expensive.
like retail, it's like what, Ezra? It's like 20 Canadian dollars.
Yeah, it's about 14 USD.
That's
Yeah.
not bad. How much do you get?
Oh, you could quite a bit of it, like something like 300 meters or something like that.
Oh, dude, what the fuck? Yeah, that's a steal. For $15.
Yeah, but shout out to Berkshire Junction.
Oh yeah, by
Yeah,
the way, since we were announcing our drinks, I have a original C2O coconut water.
Dude, coconut water is fucking tits.
Exactly. I gave some to my friends and they literally spit it out. They're like, "This stuff's disgusting."
They're disgusting.
Fuck
Get
you.
new friends.
Coconut water makes me thirstier after drinking it than I was before drinking it.
Have you had Bai coconut water?
No, I haven't.
That's, in my opinion, the best. Bai coconut water with pineapple.
Ooh, pineapple.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah.
I finished my pineapple drink. I'm on my lime water now.
Lime water. Lime water. Lime.
Sipping on my drink.
Dear God. You know, I'm gonna send you a picture of my coconut water.
Callum, what are you drinking?
I got nothing. I'm all out.
Welcome to the Micro Machines podcast, the podcast where we talk about our drinks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've been. That was a nice cold open. Okay. Welcome to the Micro Machines.
Dennis, you want to start streaming the slides?
Wait, no, don't start streaming yet. I'm adding one more slide. There we go.
Uh-oh.
Oh
Okay,
my
it's-
God!
it's-
That's where you're
It's
killing me.
fine. It's
He's
fine.
Okay,
you know
we
what?
won't, we won't look at it until we get to it. We won't look at it until
you know
we get to
what
it.
I think Ezra has added. I'm going to make a prediction here. So for the hill to die on, I have, those, you go on eBay and you find like the 18 plus side of resin casting. I have this bad feeling.
Don't worry, it is
wait.
not that. I assure you. Don't give me ideas though.
Oh God. Thank you, Dennis. You gave the boy ideas.
Yeah, look. Oh my God, he's going to do it now. He's going to be like a 1 to 9
No.
scale biker girl. Just
No, I
furiously
already-
typing away at his keyboard.
I'll be showing my wife shit on like eBay or fucking AliExpress of like shit I want to get, and then that'll pop up. It's like when you were a kid and the sex scene showed up on your TV.
You just have
parents
to
walked
close
in.
your eyes. and
Yeah.
hide.
It's all scary.
I know you just
didn't know
open
it'd be there.
your eye just a tiny bit. Well, welcome to the Micro Machines podcast. Today's episode is the Ram Tank.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Right.
Nice.
Just give you that nice little silence so you can ponder what we're going to talk about next.
Are we sending introductions or not?
Yeah, I think we should.
I think we should. I'll go first. So you got Callum, me, coming in from New Zealand.
I'm Dennis. I'm recording from Ontario.
I'm Ezra. I'm recording from sweaty New Mexico.
And I am Greg, recording from sweaty SoCal.
All right. Well, with that out of the way, it's time to talk about this lovely piece of cast metal. But I thought, before we start talking about the Ram tank itself, we should probably talk about the context historically for the Ram tank. Okay. Um, how would you guys describe the state of the British Army following the evacuation from Dunkirk?
Non-existent.
A little bit in shambles.
And as for how would you describe the Canadian Armored Corps prior to the Second World War?
Pitiful.
Yeah. So, I guess before we talk about like the Ram tank from a technical standpoint, we should probably discuss the wider historical forces that led to its creation. So, prior to the Second World War, the Royal Canadian Armored Corps, which is essentially the armored forces of the Canadian Army, were pretty. I'll be generous here and say underfunded. So they had a few tanks on standby. They were Vickers Mark 6 tanks. The majority of their actual inventory, though, were these little tankettes, these Cardin Lloyds, which were armed with a single Vickers gun. It was really a force that existed in name only. It wasn't something that was actually able to go out and fight. It didn't really have any tanks, any modern tanks, as to say, at the outbreak of the war. But also overseas in 1940, after the British evacuated from Dunkirk, they basically left all of their armored vehicles in France. So, by the time that the war really kicks off in 1940, neither Canada nor Britain have a good supply of modern battle tanks. Do you think
Well,
this
I have
might
a
be a problem?
question.
Yeah.
When you say the Cardin Loin just has that one Vickers, could it take out maybe like an early mark of a Panzer One?
Well, it depends. Does the Vickers have armor-piercing ammunition?
No.
No. I mean,
I-
just wait till the commander sticks his head out of the hatch.
I mean, I suppose it could just drive into the Panzer very, very fast.
Do a War Thunder moment and knock it off the edge of a cliff or the river.
I had somebody knock me over in War Thunder, and I was so pissed because they just sat there trying to tow me for about 30 seconds and then just drove away. And then I got killed in my aircraft.
I think there was, during the war, a Sherman that rammed a Tiger and disabled it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be
There's a
Wasn't it-
tiger that rammed a
Yeah.
tiger and got
I
disabled.
thought it was a King Tiger.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I know the Tiger 114 was running from British or anti-tank guns, and the driver accidentally ran into the back of another Tiger tank and broke the fucking road wheels, so it had to be abandoned. That's the Tiger tank mine it's based off of.
Okay, so bearing that in mind, we've got a huge problem here, right? So the problem being, nobody has any tanks, right? They're just none. By 1940, neither Britain nor Canada have really any sizable number of tanks. So by this point in time, after the evacuations from Dunkirk, the British and Canadian governments began, figuring out, okay, how are we going to replenish our armored vehicle stocks? So in June 1940, the first stage of this solution came out, where the Canadian Pacific Railway was basically handed a contract by the Canadian government to build, I think it was 300 Valentine tanks that would be shipped to Britain, and then after that, they would build 488 for the Canadian Army. So that was one. Now, of course, Valentine's pretty good, but I mean, it does have some deficiencies, right? It's not necessarily like the best tank, especially if you're in need of something that's a bit more universal, something that can fight tanks, support infantry, it's good for being shipped overseas and all that, right? So by 1940, basically the Montreal Locomotive Works was given a more or less a requirement by the Canadian Army to produce some sort of more universal tank that could be mass produced and then used by the Canadian Army and then also the British Army. And that is where we get the Ram from. The first Ram Mark I would be produced in 1941, and after that, in 1942, they would move on to building the Ram Mark II, and then in let me see. I think it was 1943 they began working on the Ram Mark III, and these were all built in Montreal.
Did my internet go out, or is no one talking?
Well, don't all
I don't
speak at
think it-
once.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna keep going, Dennis, and then
Yeah,
like,
so did I.
No. That's how it works. You just have this stream of consciousness, and then you guys can like marinate on it for like a minute.
we definitely were. I was sitting here thinking, "Fuck, did my internet go out again?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll edit all of this bit out. That's fine.
No, leave this specific bit.
All right, I'll say this. I'll start with this. How about that? You know how the American M4 had multiple variants, right? They had the recovery, they had the combat, they had multiple different guns for it and stuff. Did the Ram have the same thing?
We will get to that in due time.
Very well.
First, though, we should probably talk about the armor. So, on the Ram tank, I will say this. For 1941, the Ram was a pretty modern and pretty well-designed vehicle. On kind of across all of the Ram tank variants, you had a general protection of anywhere from 25 to 87 millimeters of armor. Of course, the armor was thickest on the gun mantlet. It was thinnest on the undersides and the rear of the tank. Generally speaking, however, it was fairly well armored. It was produced with a combination of riveted and cast steel construction. So certainly in the areas with the cast steel, it was pretty strong. Obviously, the riveted areas were going to be a bit more problematic because of the effects of spalling. But it also had nice big armored hatches for the crew to get out of. So much like the M4 Sherman, if it was hit, egress would not be a problem.
Good.
Well, that's unless they get war crimed.
Now, as far as the power plant goes, it had a 400 horsepower right whirlwind. So I guess at this point we should probably talk about the elephant in the room. The bottom half of this thing looks oddly like an M3 Lee. Any guesses as to why?
Because it was.
About to say, it probably just taken from it since it was such a quickly produced tank or made
The
tank.
Canadians like to do a little industrial espionage. Yeah,
We
but
don't talk about
essentially, so you can think of it this way. From the driver's hatch down, the Ram is essentially an M3 Lee. So it has the same power plant, which is the right whirlwind, being a rotary engine, which is obviously, as we all know, the very best design of engine for a tank, just sucking all the air in.
Oh yes.
In terms of the suspension units and the tracks, which we'll get to here, again, fairly similar to the M3 Lee. It used the same type of suspension, it used the same transmission, same tracks early on. And yeah, but that was a good thing overall because it meant that the Canadians and Americans were really able to standardize production of these tanks, and it meant that from a logistical standpoint, they were very easy to support as well.
Look at those CDP tracks.
In
Yeah,
an
no,
alternate reality, this was the M4 Sherman. You would see in all the newsreels. And the M4 Sherman is what we would be talking about now.
Well, in fairness, it definitely hit the field at the same time as the M4 Sherman, and certainly if you're a Canadian, or even if you're British in training up in the early part of the war, this would have been what you would have trained on, not the M4, because these were manufactured just a little bit faster.
It still kind of baffles me they didn't use this for frontline combat roles.
Yeah. Also, I just want to point out here on the top photo, to anyone who says that tracks don't have that polished metal look when they're being used, I present to you this photo.
Hashtag polished metal.
Ezra, did you ever read about that on Kitmaker?
I did, and yeah, they clearly get polished.
Especially when they go on like asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I will say kudos to the Canadian government at the time for 1941 taking such nice color photos, because these are not actually colorized.
Those are pretty decent.
That is really nice. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
they're actually pretty good.
That's like 1960s quality. Are you sure that wasn't?
No, these are 1941, 1942.
Holy shit.
Those are
So-
real good.
In terms of armament, this is probably where the Ram deviates the most from its American counterparts, the M3 Lee and the M4 Sherman. So the M3 and the M4, right, they generally use either the 37mm anti-tank gun, as we saw in the Lee, or the 75mm gun, as we saw in the Sherman, right?
Okay.
Well, this is where the influence of the British and Canadian government collaborating to figure out how to fix their tank problem really becomes apparent. Because even though the tank ostensibly shares a lot of American features, it was armed with the 2-pounder in the Mark I, and then later the 6-pounder anti-tank guns. Now, this was something that the British government had specifically wanted because it would integrate well with their own supply of anti-tank guns and anti-tank gun ammunition. I will say, it did mean that the Ram had very good anti-tank capabilities, even though it never used them in combat. It may have even been a bit better in certain circumstances than, say, the early M4 Shermans for
It
fighting tanks.
more likely would have been. They should have used that instead of the Sherman in the desert of Africa.
Yeah, but aside from the 6-pounder on the later variants, obviously something that I think a lot of people are interested in is the co-driver's machine gun turret. So if you look in this photograph, which again, this was not colorized, this was an actual photograph taken in I think 1941. Sorry, no, 1941, 1943. You can see here, just off to the side, you have this little ball turret. And this is sort of like the turret that the commander had on the M3 Lee, and it has a single 30 caliber machine gun, and it's manually traversed. But yeah, this was the co-driver's machine gun turret, and it's definitely a very distinctive feature of the Ram. Now, the very late variants would delete this, and they would basically have a more Sherman style ball mount for the M1919, where it's more or less just a mount in the hull itself. But yeah, up until that very late model, they all had this sub turret.
I just
How
want to
far
say
could it
this.
traverse?
Yeah, obviously not 360 degrees, but it could more or less shoot almost rearward, and it could
Nice.
just shoot just beyond the driver's hatch. To the
This
right.
picture was the first ever picture I saw of the Ram, and I always thought it was an ugly tank.
What?
That's
It's
just
cute. It's like a grown-up 38T.
I will
with the
say this:
turret.
it definitely is not as clean looking as say the M4 is, but I think
Yeah.
there's in a way it actually looks better. You know how you like to love things that look ugly?
Yeah, like a pug. This is
Yeah,
the pug.
exactly. This is the
The
pug.
pug tank.
So that's why your girlfriend's with you. Gotcha.
Wow.
Oh,
All right.
God.
I'm a bit of a bitch, but you know.
This guy just
I
murdered
got
the
him.
entire podcast crew.
Stand
She's
by
not
for
with us 'cause
Micro
she likes
Machines Fight
tanks.
Night.
It was all a lie. She doesn't know what a BMP is. Yeah, there's definitely very much an almost steampunk thing going on with the Ram in terms of its styling. You know, you get the really weird cast hull. You've got the rivets everywhere. But I will say this again, for a 1941 design, it was actually pretty decent because it had really good crew visibility. Again, something that's really important: the crew could escape fairly easily. I mean, it's not like it's a wide hatch Sherman, but it's definitely a lot better than, say, a Panzer 38T.
Right.
And it was well armed with that 400 horsepower engine. It was pretty mobile. In many respects, you can think of it as the cruiser version of the M3.
We need to jam the Chieftain into one of these and see how fast he can get out.
Well, there is one in Canada. I think next time he's up for a Kino weekend in Oshawa, he should go to the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa because it's only about a 3-hour drive away. They've got some there.
That'd be pretty
How
sweet.
many?
They have a Kangaroo that is actually fully functional now. They've restored it to full working order. And I think they have a Ram gun tank.
What kind of Kangaroo is it? The late or early?
The late.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the Kangaroo, we need to talk about the variants of the Ram. So,
Look at that
Greg,
thing.
you had alluded to this earlier. Funnily enough, even though the Ram was designed as a gun tank, none of the gun tanks saw anything other than training service. The Ram, however, did still have a huge contribution in the combat in Italy and then in Northwest Europe, but that was all through its variants. Because it turns out this the hull of the Ram was really, really useful for doing a whole bunch of things. So the first variant we were going to talk about is the Badger. Ezra, I think you had read some stuff about this.
Had I?
Yeah, you read about how about the flamethrower, right?
No.
Never mind. Okay, so this was so essentially what this is it's a Ram Kangaroo, which we'll talk about in a couple slides. It's a flamethrower tank, right? So
War crimes.
what it is essentially
Oh
it's a late
no,
model
I was going to
cannon.
talk about the Kangaroo, not the Badger.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
So this is basically where you take a late model Kangaroo tank, right? Which again, it's just a Ram with no turret. You remove the machine gun from the ball mount and you replace it with the flamethrower that's actually from a universal carrier Wasp, which was the Canadian flamethrowing universal carrier. So in this, you basically have a firewall, and behind it, you've got the big tanks of petroleum jelly, and then you've got the driver, the commander, who sits in a ball turret, which was actually taken from the early model Rams and put on this sort of blanked off turret here. And then you've got the co-driver, who is the gunner in this case. So they made actually a few of these Badgers in two variants, or I should say two marks of production. As you can see, there are some distinct differences here. I believe this was an early model Badger versus the late model Badger here. And yeah, they were flamethrowing tanks. Some things to note about these is that as far as flamethrowing tanks go, they're actually pretty good. They did see combat in Northwest Europe, and they performed very well. Definitely by 1944 and 45, they obviously didn't have the best armor, but considering they were usually, being used to storm defensive positions, so long as they didn't come directly into the line of sight of anti-tank guns, they were usually pretty much indestructible. But they were very, very effective for what they did. They could carry a lot of fuel. They had good range. So yeah, they were very effective in that regard.
I mean, they have to be so much better than the Churchill Crocodile because they don't have to carry around that silly little trailer.
Yeah, they were honestly, it was definitely a really good design. And one thing that's interesting to note is that the Badgers were so successful, even though they were used for a short period of time, that after the war, the Canadian government tested the Wasp system, so Wasp flamethrowing system, on M4A3s, which they removed the turrets off of. So they basically tried to copy this exact design concept, but on the Sherman.
Interesting.
So Ezra, this is your slide.
Yes. Okay, so I will ask everyone here but Dennis, who used either one of these kangaroos? What country?
I must not
England?
say it.
You just had to guess that, didn't you?
Well, you said
Okay.
kangaroo, so I mean,
Okay, that's fair. So the one on the right is an early model. It's an early model, right, Dennis? With the ball.
No,
with
the early model
the little
had
turret.
the co-driver's turret. The late model just had the ball.
Right. Yeah, so the one on the right is the early, and they were almost extensively used by the British, I think.
British and Canadians. Yep, they used them almost 50-50.
Okay, I thought the Canadians mostly just used the late version.
I thought you were talking about like the Kangaroo in general. No, yeah.
No. No, I'm talking about the difference between the early and the late.
yeah.
I think the British used primarily the early version.
Right. And the Canadians mostly used the one with the really cute little tiny bulge for the
Look at that thing.
You, the turret, versus the turret she tells you not to worry about.
Yeah.
Right.
I realized how terrible my wording was. Anyways. But yeah, personally, I think the early it looks a little more menacing, but... Oh, and you can also note the difference in suspension. I mean, the bogies are very different.
Yeah,
That's true. I never even noticed that.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah, it
on the
has
early
M3
ones.
bogies.
Yeah, the early ones had the M3 where the return roller was on top of the bogey system, whereas the later
Right.
ones they reverted to the Sherman style, where the return roller was at the back of the
With the
bogey
skid,
system.
yeah.
Yeah, and a skid and all that. Yeah, that's the
Again,
easiest way to tell.
RAM production ran throughout the entirety of World War II, I believe, or it went up to like 1944. And in that time, it really did parallel the developments with the M3 and then later the M4. In many ways, it just sort of the Montreal Locomotive Works saw whatever was going on in the States and then kind of copied those ideas on the RAM.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. If you look at the late version of the Kangaroo really quickly, it almost just looks like a Sherman without the turret.
Yeah.
Also,
The
one other
fenders
thing.
in the front kind of give it away, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, look at the early one on the right. Look how low that suspension system's running. You know, the arms are like really splayed, and the one on the left, you know, it's sitting a lot higher.
Mhm.
The one on the right is the stanced version, and the one on the left is the rally version.
They actually did tank race vehicles, didn't they? Like they'd capture like German or Japanese vehicles and like quote race them to see which one was better and like take notes.
I did
do
see that.
yeah.
I did see one of it was the Hargo against an M3 Stuart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Wasn't that in the Philippines?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So, Ezra, I've got a question for you here.
Yes.
What is so significant about the Kangaroo? Because I'm looking here, I'm just seeing a RAM where they Detroited the turret off of it.
I believe it was the first actual APC made. Not even purpose built. Fuck. It was just the first in general APC ever made. I think. Right? I shouldn't say I think.
Yes.
There went all my credibility. Anyways. Though it did have one disadvantage of how high it was riding, especially if you're jumping down onto like hard ground or mud, that would hurt a bit.
You'll only be 19 once.
Damn straight.
They really, really need a Kangaroo model, like a dedicated RAM Kangaroo model on the market.
Well, after your Prius MRAP, go right ahead.
I mean, Bronco came so close because they have their RAM. All they need to do is release it with an interior, and there's your RAM Kangaroo.
Yeah, I know.
RAM interiors, don't they? I don't know.
Wait, what did you say? I didn't hear your mic.
They make interior kits for the RAM, don't they?
No,
I don't think so.
Not Bronco.
I know Artillery does the M4A1 Kangaroo.
Yeah, well, they came out with the was it the Priest Kangaroo?
Yeah, Priest Kangaroo.
Yeah.
And they show you all these figures on it, right? They don't give you any figures.
That's so. I hate when companies do that shit, dude. Oh my god.
Typical Artillery fashion.
Yeah,
What's
but then you
that,
run the risk of getting gummy bear figures like in your Atlantis kit.
Yeah, that's true. But
True.
that's Atlantis. That's
Good point.
Now
That-
with
that's-
Artillery, that's a
that's-
risk as well.
But I say Atlantis, you're kind of expecting it. But yeah, you got a point.
Off topic, but did you ever notice if you look at the Atlantis boxes of some of their kits, they'll show a picture of the built model on the side, but it's built so badly. Like you can see the seams, there's gaps, the canopy looks like it's been hand painted, like it's see-through in some parts.
No, that's the thing. Like, it seems like I don't want to shit on the model builders who work for companies, but like, have you guys ever noticed that for a lot of companies, their test models aren't that good?
No, they are not.
Yes,
No.
I've noticed.
See, I reckon it's a bit of reverse psychology. What it is, you know, be for people just picking up the model first time, and they'll see like, oh, okay, so, you know, this is how they've built it, so if it looks kind of like this, I'm doing all right, you know. It won't discourage them if it comes out a bit bad.
And then any experienced models like, I can do better than this.
Yeah, and then anyone else who does make models just looks and go, nah, this is a challenge. I can make this. Whereas for a new modeler, that's like, oh, this is a benchmark.
Yeah, that would
Dude's
actually
got a
make
point.
sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got an idea for a new group build. We all have to build the horribly detailed Lindbergh T-55.
No, I'm not doing
You
that
are a
again.
monster.
No. I've built it once, never doing it again. No.
It's just so bad.
It is bad. It's horrible.
You know what?
I proposed-
That's why I'm going to 3D print ERA bricks. You could just cover the whole thing in ERA.
Oh,
and then
that's
you don't have to
fair.
worry
You're
about
gonna
any of the
have
detail.
to. You're gonna have to.
I proposed this idea on Kitmaker, and everyone's like, I wouldn't waste my time on this.
Yeah, they got a
There's-
point. Like, for once, Kitmaker's right.
Oh, and there we go.
Oh,
We
we're
just
gonna have
lost
to
all
edit
of our
that
audio.
out.
We're gonna have Callum. We're gonna have to like bleep Greg out.
What do you mean? We'll only lose like what, maybe 3 people?
Me and Dennis will try to log on, and our accounts have just been deleted.
Oh yeah, we've been suspended for like a month.
Oh.
Y'all gonna knock on my door. I'm gonna be like, "What the fuck?" And you're gonna be like, "Yeah, this is for fucking Kitmaker, bitch." Like, no.
The kit maker mob hit.
Bro,
Nah, the
we're
best.
gonna do the next podcast, and I'll be like, "Hi, I'm Greg, recording from the San Clemente Hospital because I got fucking jumped by Kitmaker people."
Nah, the worst Kitmaker can do is just make a thread, and then you'll have a whole bunch of boomers jumping on it and getting pissy over it.
I would
And we
love
can
to
just-
read that.
We can, yeah. There's like, no, it's going to be a win for us. We can just sit back and watch.
Hey, any
That's
publicity
true.
is good publicity.
Damn straight.
Ezra, you know, I just noticed something.
What did you just notice?
You see where I'm circling on the early model, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
The star is canted. The stars were only supposed to be canted on Canadian or other Commonwealth vehicles. Here, I don't know if this is a Canadian vehicle or not. It must not be. Because the star
Oh!
isn't canted. Did you ever read about that? The
I
Commonwealth star.
Didn't.
So
I
here's
remember
something
reading
that-
something about the star, but not on
Yeah, well, so any
Kangaroo
of
specifically.
You guys who want like building Commonwealth vehicles, here's a little bit of a tidbit. In theory, if it was like you know how all the Allied vehicles have the stars, right? After like 1941 or something. So
Right.
on American vehicles, the star is straight. On British vehicles, the star is straight. On Canadian or New Zealand or Indian vehicles, it's supposed to be canted a few degrees.
Why is it canted?
I think that was more or less just a distinguishing feature to sort of like make it different than British. So
I'm
you could tell them
special.
apart.
Oh, I always
Although
thought it was
I
like a
will say
middle
this.
finger at the Americans.
Yeah, I will say this. I think it was not usually implemented because you'll see just quite a few photos of Canadian tanks with the stars on straight. But I think in principle, at least, they were supposed to be canted. So that's really weird to see this a supposedly British vehicle with the canted star. Although I
I
guess
was
it
about
may
to
have been
say,
painted.
if I was an American tanker at the time and I saw like a Commonwealth vehicle roll up with a canted star, if I noticed it, I would probably think, "Damn, they're kind of they can't see straight or something when they put the fucking star on."
They're too drunk.
Yeah.
Too much of that good Canadian whiskey steadies the hand.
That's like the
Oh,
ultimate. That's like the ultimate subtle in joke that like maybe during the whole war you'd get like one American general look at it and go, "You son of a bitch."
Actually, not relating to the stars, but on Ram 2s, the escape hatch was welded over.
Yeah, they did that.
What the fuck? You will die in this tank, damn it.
They pulled the T-72 on them.
It's like you know the saying, "Captain goes down with their ship." Well, hell, I've got news for you.
Fortunately for them, the gun tank never saw combat.
No, it's the crew goes up with their tank.
Yeah, we're talking about the new Russian space program, eh?
Actually,
Bro, that
another
shit's taken off in Ukraine.
yeah. Another side note: in the Italian Navy, their captains, their ships were they were big on the captain goes down to the point where they would do it so often. The Italian Navy commanders were ordering captains, do not go down with your ship. We
Oh,
can
yeah,
rescue
because
you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
weren't the
they
British
kept-
doing the same thing?
Yeah,
But-
it was like
and they kept doing
the
it.
ship was the ship was perfectly fine. Like it was taking on a little water, but it could easily just float back to port. And meanwhile, the captains are getting ready to just drown themselves.
I've been waiting my whole life for this moment.
like everyone's just standing around, like, dude, we've got bilge pumps. It's okay.
Yeah, or it's like, no, we can rescue you. Get off, and they're just going, nope, I'm going down with my ship. And they were ordered, don't do this, but they still did
They're like-
it.
They're like 5 miles off the coast. Like, bro, the coast is right there. Nope, get the fuck off.
We're doing this, and then you get that one captain who ended up in shallow water, and it only goes up to like midway, and you just sitting there going, oh.
Yeah, the ship has beached itself, and he jumps off into the beach.
He
Then
jumps
for the
off
rest
the
of his
ship
life-
in an attempt to drown himself.
That's it. The rest of his life, he'll go to the bars and be like, "Yeah, I went down with my ship." It's like, okay, it beached itself, homie.
Yeah, just be part of a crew of like, didn't it go down? Nah.
No, what about that one? I think it was like an Italian cruise ship that flipped over, and the captain was like the first guy off.
Oh, the Costa Concordia.
Yes.
He's like, "Fuck this shit! I ain't going down with a bitch."
And like the guys on the shore had to like order him to get back on the ship because he says he accidentally fell into a lifeboat.
Oh, what a coincidence!
Cruise ships just scare me, man. Like there's something so menacing about them.
I will say when I went on my cruise back in January, it was very daunting how big it was.
Like, and not just that, but they seem to have a fair number of accidents. Like, I don't think it's the safest way to travel.
Yeah, but you have a good time.
Yeah, sure you do. Being on a ship is not a good time.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to stay on the firm ground where I belong.
I mean, the only injury I got was I tore my back up on the drop slide. Like, it literally took a chunk of my skin off.
Whoa.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, he's putting razor blades on the slide.
I was only on ship for like 7 weeks, I think, and I could not wait to get off.
Yeah, but that's not a cruise ship, though.
I don't care. It's still in the water. Nope. I also hit the water, so.
The only thing that like worries me is what happens when you hit rough water.
Oh,
Hang on,
God.
Greg. You hate the water.
Yes, I fucking hate the water.
Yeah,
And what were you in the military? What were you again?
I was an infantryman in a helo company. There you go.
Yeah, but what
But
branch?
you're
were you in?
part of the what branch was it? We're making you say this.
Do not say that.
I was a department of the Navy. There we go. So,
Ezra, sorry, what is marine in Spanish? Like, it has something to do with water, correct?
I don't know.
Come on,
I'm
Fire
luckily-
Calavera. You gotta get that ammo sponsorship. You gotta speak the lingo.
This
look,
is true.
I can get out of a helicopter that's in the water via like it's 4 feet under, but beyond that, I can't swim for shit. So
No, you won't be able to get out. You'll be too high from the oil sump.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, can you just imagine Greg in his personal flotation device just floating back to Okinawa, just having the high of his life?
Washes up on land. It's like, what have you been on, son? He just goes, stallion.
Yeah.
No, officer, it's high. How are you? Not how high are you?
He's like, please push me back out.
It's like, bro, have you been on this new fucking kit they got? It's like an oil pan, dude.
We should probably get back
So
on
that
topic.
is the Kangaroo
Yeah.
armored personnel carrier.
This is not the ship podcast.
Now, who likes
Ooh.
artillery?
Oh.
Yeah. Look at that. God, that
Who-
picture on the left is so good looking, dude.
Yeah. Who likes muzzle brakes?
Oh. Especially a cool muzzle brake like that.
Yeah. So, this is the Sexton.
Yeah, get your 8th grade giggles out, boys. Come on.
So, someone else is going to have to say. Yeah, so this is basically again, one of the things is that the Ram, they made a lot of Rams, right? Like there's just a lot of these hulls sitting around, and again, they're really good because you can use these for a lot of things that you might want to use, say, an M4 for without actually having to take a valuable M4 tank and then convert it. So, of course, we all know about the M7 Priest, right? Which is
Right. The
based off of-
Sexton is just a sexier M7 Priest.
Well, okay,
That's
so
why it's
here's the
called the
deal. So
Sexton.
the M7 Priest, obviously that's the American one, but the British and Canadians also used it for a little while, and it has the 105mm howitzer. Well, the Sexton is essentially the British and Commonwealth sort of equivalent of that, and instead of using the M4 as a platform, it used the Ram, which again, it's not too dissimilar, right? So instead of carrying the 105, it has the 25 pounder, which is
Right.
basically just the British artillery. But yeah, the Sexton was used very extensively by both the Canadian and the British forces in both Italy and Northwest Europe. It was really good. It was one of the better artillery vehicles of the war. Dragon makes a kit of this.
2, actually, an early and a late.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is definitely one of the again. You've got the Kangaroo, you've got the Sexton. These are both examples of the Ram doing sterling service as a sort of support vehicle.
See,
And it
because
looks cool.
they did the same for like the Shermans and stuff. So we got the Sherman that's turned into a priest and all that. You're kind of looking at like an off-brand. It's
This
like an
is
off-brand
basically-
version.
Yeah, so this is basically like whatever. I don't know what's a big brand in America that we have like
Great
Canadian
value.
off brands of. You guys have M&Ms, we have Smarties. So if the Sherman Priest and the Sherman Armored Recovery Vehicles are M&Ms, well then these are the Smarties.
It's
What do you mean?
Mom,
We have too many Smarties over here.
Well, yeah, well Smarties were originally Canadian, so I mean,
see, it's like you look at this and it's like, you know, the meme of like, Mom, I want an M7 Priest. It's like we have an M7 Priest at home, and then
I'm just trying to think
about
what would
right.
be better, the 105 or the 20, or the sorry,
it was
How-
25 pounder. That's
25 pounder, right?
84 millimeter, 84.5 or something like that. It's a weird one.
105.
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I remember reading somewhere that apparently the British liked the Sexton more, but that you know what? It's probably just because it integrated with their logistics better.
Probably.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah, because they didn't really use the Priest too much because they used the American ammo, which they had difficulties getting supplies for, whereas this just ran off their own stuff.
It's almost like
Exactly.
there was a war going on. Supply chain
Actually,
difficulties.
U-boats.
if you look at the Sextons, you'll notice that they have strengthened Canadian bogies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, with the thicker ribs.
So the Chieftain has his thing about track tensioning, and Ezra, you've got your thing about the bogies.
Oh, I like the strengthened bogies. They just look so much better. Okay, so that must make it. I'm looking through my Sexton models right now. So the Sexton on the right is a Mark II. Wait.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the M4 style bogies with the skid and rear.
No,
return
it
bolt.
doesn't have M4 style bogies. It has the Canadian
Cal,
strengthened
look what you've
bogies.
done. Look what you've done. You've just started. You
God
opened this
damn
can
it.
of worms.
Tell me to send you pictures showing the difference.
You think I said that accidentally?
Mm.
Oh God.
I am having a bit of a crisis here because I'm all of a sudden realizing, looking at the Sexton on the right, I'm beginning to worry that might not actually be a Ram-based Sexton.
Well, look at the front of the lower hull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
it has
cut in
the
like a
late-
Sherman.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
know this is a
I
very
mean-
late, this might be a late model, but okay.
It's probably a late model because that's the single piece
Assume-
transmission.
Assume that this is not a Ram, but imagine basically this with rivets. Because a variety of vehicles were used for the Sexton. It wasn't just the Ram.
Mm.
Now,
Okay,
look
I
like
looked
a
it
real
up.
Idiot, don't I?
It's a Sexton Mark II with Canadian heavy-duty bogies, VVSS track, and a stowage box on the rear deck.
There you go.
There we go.
I just really
And
want to
then-
find like one example of and they also put like the top of the Sexton on an M4 just to piss off Ezra.
Hey, where's our time
I-
machine at?
I don't know, that Sexton on the left looks like it... What kind of bogies does it have? It doesn't have the strength end, but I can't see where the...
It has the kind that make the vehicle go forward or backwards.
Yeah.
I
And go,
see.
up and down.
Yep.
Squish.
So anyone who's actually making a model of a Sexton, you better be listening on this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will get you.
Get it approved by Ezra first, obviously.
Yeah, actually, if you're going to make a model of any sort of Ram vehicle, you're going to have to send your photos to the Discord first. The council will look at it, evaluate it, and then say if you can proceed with painting or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that is the discount priest. Now, here we get into some more interesting stuff. So, remember how I said none of the gun tanks ever fought, right? They never went into combat.
Uh-huh.
Well, this is looking an awful lot like a gun tank. So what we have here is the Ram observation post, and basically what this is it's a Ram tank, right? No alterations made, save for they gut the turret, right? They like take everything unnecessary out of the turret. They put this dummy gun on, and then inside you basically have a stronger wireless set. At the back of the tank, you had basically a spool of telephone cable, so you could enable communication between this and say a headquarters. And then it also had, I believe, a map table as well. And basically,
Okay, what
these
the
things...
fuck is the purpose?
So basically, the idea of this was that, say, after the D-Day landings, right, or after the landings in Italy, you need a way of sort of not only coordinating all of your different units, right, but you also need a way of facilitating communication between them, and you also have to have people just sort of looking around and saying, okay, what's going on, right? You need to have that strategic situational awareness.
Right.
So the idea here was that the Sherman tanks, right, are too valuable as fighting vehicles to just say convert into something that you can have a field commander ride around and talking to other field commanders and looking at his maps and figuring out what's going on, right? But a Ram tank, because these were being used only for training at this stage, they say, okay, look, it can keep up with the the forces on the field with the M4s, right? It has a somewhat similar level of protection. So what the idea here is that these would be used in the command units. So they were used in Italy and as well in Normandy.
Huh.
Basically, the point of them was you've got radios, you have telephone wire, you have a map. I think they carried some observation equipment as well. And basically, without making it clear that they were carrying officers, which would have made them a target, right? They still look kind of like a normal tank. You have this ability to drive right up, along with the main forces, and you can, communicate, observe, figure out what's going on, and generally command the battle.
I wonder, with the radio and everything still in there, could the turret traverse?
I'm not sure if they took the traverse gears out or not. I assume they would, just because they weren't necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Question.
Sure.
So I get the whole idea with, perception is everything, and you want to blend in with the regular forces and make yourself look like a regular Joe so you're not a complete target. But since there weren't, Rams like this that were basically the Sherman in combat, why would you want to put a barrel on it?
Well, I mean, put yourself in these shoes, right? Say you're a German pack gunner, and you see one of these through the scope and it's a dusty day in Normandy, right? Like, because after the landings, it was it was dust. There was a lot of just like these tanks were kicking up a lot of debris, and you see this thing at 500 meters. And you don't really know what Shermans look like, right? You just see in tanks. You see Churchills, you see Shermans, you see M10s and all that. Are you necessarily going to be able to, in that split second, say, hey, that's different enough that it might be a new target? or you just go say, "Hey, look, there's an Allied tank. We should probably shoot at it."
Solid point.
I mean, you think about it, these tanks are actually really tall. Like, I know the foes don't do it justice, but if you ever build a model of it, you'll realize they're actually really big relative to the Shermans. So, I
Mhm.
mean, if you look at it from a distance, you can't immediately tell them apart.
I wonder how much taller than a Sherman they are.
I think they're actually about the same height, but they're wide. Like, these are really wide vehicles.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is sort of like a lot of people often look at these foes when they're looking at pictures of the ram tanks and they think, oh, the gun tanks actually did go into battle. Because you think about it, the only real indication is that you can see the gun sights have been blanked off here. That's
And
about it.
clearly they haven't drilled out their gun barrel.
Well, that is definitely like an oversight on the modeler's part. So that was the Ram OP. Now you've got
real quick,
something.
one more thing.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm sorry if you said this a moment ago and I just didn't catch it. What was the reason they didn't convert a Sherman into that if they were using mostly those for combat roles to make it blend even more?
By the time you get like 1943, 1944, right, there are hundreds and hundreds of Ram tanks in Britain training, right? But there are also now hundreds and hundreds of M4s. So the original purpose of the Ram was that you would essentially stock up the British and Canadian armies tank units, right? Because it was not clear at the time, okay, if the Americans were going to produce enough tanks to satisfy the requirements, especially early on in the war. So you have a lot of the Ram tanks, but obviously, like by the time, especially 1942 rolls around, you get the later variants of the Shermans rolling out. Like it's pretty clear they are better than the Ram, right? They have a better armament, they have better armor, they have especially when it comes to things like the wet stowage tanks later on, they're a lot more survivable and a lot safer. So it becomes clear even by 1943ish that the Ram tanks are not going to be suitable when you compare them to the M4 for tank combat, right? So the M4s basically become the combat tanks, and then the Rams become the training tanks because they're similar enough that you can train crews in Britain, with a pretty good to a good degree on how to operate the M4s by using the Rams. So it was basically the case that the Shermans were considered too important to convert into something like an observation post, but the Ram, because you were only using it for training and there was a surplus of them anyways, that's something that you could convert.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's basically the reason why you see, instead of like Shermans being used for all these sort of, weird support vehicles, it's always going to be the Ram.
That makes more sense. Thank you.
So speaking of support vehicles, this is a pretty rare variant. This is the Wallaby. So this is a gun tower, generally speaking. Tractor, I should say. Generally speaking, this was used by the Canadians to tow the 17-pounder.
Why not just put
That
the
will say-
17-pounder
Like
on
a
top?
stug.
These are quite. The answer to that question, I think, is never going to be truly understood. Like it makes sense, doesn't it?
That's probably why they didn't do it, because it makes sense. Militaries don't like to do things that make sense.
But it's like, well, we've got the tank here. It's got a gun on it, but we've got a gun over here as well. So let's remove the turret off this one and tow this one. Yeah, that makes sense.
I will say it took a while for the Allies to figure out that you could put a 17-pounder in a turret.
What was the first tank fielded with the 17-pounder?
Does the Archer count?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be the Archer then. And even the Archer, I mean, think about it. So they had to put it in backwards because they didn't figure out you could just put it in the turret at that stage.
Actually, we should definitely do an episode on the Archer because it's an
We're going to have
interesting
to do
one.
an episode on the Archer.
Wait, actually, no. If you're saying the Valentine is the first tankless 17-pounder, I counter it with this. I'm sending a picture right now.
Let's see.
The Crusader 17-pounder prototype.
Oh, that's cool.
My.
That is so
Goodness.
cool.
It's like an Archer, but they decide to un-Archer your Archer.
So I have no idea if it was ever made. I just stumbled across that pic.
That is weird.
That
Yeah.
is weird. I don't like it.
It looks kind of like a Deacon, but not on wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the Wallaby. Only a few of these were really made. Really, in principle, all they were essentially kangaroos, but everyone was told, no, you're not allowed to climb inside. Get away from it. And then they just towed around 17 pounders. And then you've got this thing here.
Oh
So
my.
again, really embracing the fake tank concept.
Oh, that looks so cool.
But yeah, this is the Ram Armored Recovery Vehicle.
I want to build that.
Basically, the best way of describing it is, you know the Sherman ARV?
Mm.
Yeah, it's basically that, but a Ram. But it does everything the same. It has the same equipment. Again, it's just, they're taking tanks that are considered less important for combat, and then just converting them into these support vehicles.
Honestly, when I first stumbled across that picture, I thought it was a Ram tank destroyer, and I was so happy.
Yeah, it honestly kind of looks like it. It looks
It
almost
looks-
like a casemate.
Yeah, it looks like a Churchill gun carrier.
Oh, the Ram gun carrier.
Bro, could you imagine?
That would
Ezra,
be
I need
cool.
to see you make that now. You please make a tank destroyer Ram.
I will make it look exactly like that, minus the extra stuff.
No, you got to add the extra stuff. Add the
Stowage.
aesthetic.
It's stowage.
Yeah.
That's
Actually,
true.
new group build. Ram 2, but as a tank destroyer, any kind.
We're gonna
Just stuff whatever
how
gun you
the,
want.
Just how the Allies may turn the Ram into anything they want during the war, we're going to turn the Ram into anything we want. I'm proposing a Ram carrying a tow missile.
Now,
Of course you are.
See, what I'll do is I'd get a 17-pounder and then cut a hole out where the machine gunner is and drop it there and make it a casemate.
Or just put it in the turret and then just cut the back of the turret out.
Yeah, you're going to need to.
Nah, just put it in sideways. You'll be fine.
Y'all are really wanting me to y'all are really making me want to build a tank destroyer now.
Well, speaking of Ram tank destroyers,
Oh shit! Look at that.
so
Oh my
have
god.
any of you guys heard of a German tank that has become nicknamed the Death Toaster?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
It's I think it was a Panzer IV with the Flak 88 on it.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah. So we're all on the same page of what we're talking about here. But what if I told you that the Canadians decided to do the same thing, but cooler? So
Of
this
course they did.
is a Ram tank, kind of pretty standard, right? But where the turret used to be, they put a mount for the 3.7-inch anti-aircraft gun.
Which later
Callum.
became the 32-pounder.
I was about to say, Callum, the 3.7-inch anti-aircraft gun. This reminds me of something we talked about recently.
Literally last week's episode, the Tortoise.
Yep.
It was converted into an anti-tank gun for the Tortoise.
So in some weird twisted way, the Tortoise can trace some of its lineage back to this.
That is funny.
That does not look safe. That's right up there with the Panzer Bison.
Safety.
I feel like
schmafety.
that would be the one of the first TD designs. Like they didn't know what the fuck they
Yeah.
were doing. They didn't like think of protection. They're like, put a big gun on some tracks where they can see shit. Boom.
Well, really, what this reminds me of is, guys know that Panzer, I think it was the Panzer III, I want to say, and they basically just blanked off the turret and welded the Flak 88 mount to the top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what was it called? As for the Hornet? The Hornice?
I think so. I don't know. It almost looks like a Panzerjäger 1. This
Yeah.
picture here.
But yeah, this was basically a prototype tank destroyer that they developed. This was in Britain, I believe, and I think they only made one, maybe two.
Thank God.
The war would have been over in like 3 days if they had made more.
Is that a
Yeah.
muzzle brake? I can't tell what that
muzzle
is.
cover.
Okay. It needs a muzzle brake.
Yeah, but that kind of puts into perspective just how big the 3.7-inch anti-aircraft gun was, considering like the Ram is not small, and it's pretty large in comparison to the Ram.
Well, the 3.7 is bigger than the 88 because it's in It's a 94 millimeter with. Yeah.
Jeez.
So it's bigger
Where
than the
would they
American 90 as well.
Where would they store the ammunition?
On
Well,
all
I
that
mean-
open space in the back. Where else?
I was going to say, yeah.
No.
At one
It's going to
point,
be. No, it's going to be on
Sorry,
the
go ahead.
Wallaby that's following behind them.
Well, I was about to say, yeah, one of the main uses of the Ram when it was not being used for armored personnel carrier duties was to carry ammunition, and the Wallaby was able to carry ammunition both inside and carrying it on a trailer.
Actually, didn't
Wow.
the Sexton carry ammunition as well? Didn't they rip the gun out?
It did, yeah. So with the
Yeah.
Sextons, what you had was basically whether or not it was on a Ram platform or a Sherman platform, they were, I think, about as many ammunition carriers as there were ones that carried the 25-pounder.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's a pretty cool design. So now, sadly, the Ram basically was pretty much fell out of use as soon as the war ended, right? Because by 1945, even for use in training, they had been superseded by the M4 Shermans, right? So there was really no main use for the Ram once the war was over because they'd all been converted into these weird support vehicles, right? So what ended up happening was, as the Dutch army was being built back up after the end of hostilities in 1945, the Canadian and British government donated a whole bunch of Ram gun tanks to them. Now the problem was that these tanks were not donated in the best condition. The Canadians
One man's
basically
trash is
made-
another man's treasure.
Exactly. I mean, the Canadians basically made this eBay post in 1945 where they said, "For sale, 200 Ram tanks, lightly used. I know what I've got. No lowballers."
And then the Dutch did the opposite, whereas the Canadians, British, and Americans looked at the Ram and went, "Right, take the turret off. We'll keep the rest." The Dutch just went, "Right, keep the turret. Get rid of the rest."
I would note that there were probably a surplus of turrets at this stage. So,
Because they kept taking them off.
well, exactly, yeah.
Well, no, they
thing
just melt the turrets down to make more Rams.
a Ram tank made entirely of turrets.
So
So
Actually-
support vehicle.
Actually, this is how when you buy your Bronco Ram tank, you take the turret off and you build a Kangaroo. You keep the turret and you build one of these.
exactly.
Dude, that's actually kind of smart.
So basically, the problem was that when the Canadians had given the Dutch these Rams, there was actually a lot of positive feedback. They did like it, but the problem was by the time they had been donated to the Dutch, they had just been kept in really bad condition, right? Because again, they'd been superseded by the Shermans. No one really needed them anymore. So what the Dutch ended up doing was back in the 1950s, they constructed this, which is called the Gesell line. And basically, the idea of this was that it was sort of like a Maginot line that would actually work, so that if the Soviets ever invaded the Netherlands, the Gesell line was actually a network of different fortification lines that were spread out between, say, dikes, natural waterways, and also just in villages. And the idea was that they would delay the Soviet advance just long enough so that NATO could get their counterattack going.
Boy, they
So-
better start getting this stuff up again.
So basically, what you have here is you've got even it's a tiny little village, right? And you're just driving along the road, and all of a sudden you see this. So they had these concrete bunkers made, and they took the turrets off of Sherman Fireflies and then also Ram tanks, put them so that they could rotate on these concrete bunkers, and said, "Yeah, that's your pillbox." I will
It's
note,
actually not a bad idea.
as you can see here, they've shrunk the 6-pounder considerably.
Did they drill a hole?
Yeah, well, they did, on this one they did drill a hole, so we're
Okay.
thankfully they did that.
So they could stick their bolt actions in there and pop them off and make them themed like they're a machine gun.
Yeah, but basically all the 6-pounders were removed from the Ram tanks, which is odd because the Shermans got to keep their 17-pounders.
Yeah, I was just gonna
There you
say.
go. Yeah,
Because-
But what did they
the
replace it
shooting
with? Like a M1919 or what?
yeah, it's an M1919.
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, I bet this, if back in if it was in the 1940s or 50s that this happened and these had to be used, they wouldn't be completely useless. Like I could see this presenting a little bit of an issue.
Well, yeah, but until a T-54 rolls up and just puts a nice HE shell into it.
You've got me thinking now. Would this survive an HE round from a T-54?
No,
I mean,
I don't think so.
they might have to use AP.
Oh, no. Ezra, do you know off chance like what the penetration value for an HE shell from a T-54 would be?
No, but we
Ballpark
can
it.
pull up War Thunder.
I'm looking it up right
Yeah, same.
now.
I mean,
what's the
you could-
big gun? The D100?
I think so. You could honestly probably fire the HE shell at the concrete.
Okay.
I don't know. Might not go through, but it would at least shake up whoever's inside. And how
Oh,
many
it would
people would
definitely
even
shake you
be?
up.
How many people would be inside? Like two?
Probably like 2.
Huh. Oh, what they should have done? They should have mounted the turret, the MG turret from the early Ram 1s on top of this.
That would have been really funny.
Or just put
Okay.
the M1 machine gun turrets instead of the big turret. Then you just have this tiny little machine gun turret that you can't hit.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah. You'd like
Imagine
one
how
person
many
that too.
small bunkers you can make just using that. And that'd be a bitch and a half to try and get rid of.
So yeah, it would not have been able to penetrate it. It would have had to use APHE.
That's good, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment you get hit with an HE shell inside of that thing, you're gonna be ringing for a moment.
Yeah, you
By
won't
the
need
time you
coffee
get
for that
conscious
morning,
again.
for sure.
Oh fuck no! Now you'd probably throw up your breakfast, and by the time you're done throwing up, an APHE's already come through and killed you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there you go. So this is the official MMP podcast advice. When you buy your Bronco Ram, also buy some stuff to make a concrete bunker, because you can make a Kangaroo and you can make an adjustable line bunker. Get 2 for the price of 1.
Brilliant.
There you are.
Now, speaking of models,
Hell yeah! Look at that.
models.
Yay!
Now, for the longest time, the only way you could make a Ram was you had to buy a Tamiya M3 Lee, and then also buy like some resin conversion kit. There have been quite a few of them made over the years. Fortunately, though, now we actually have things like the Bronco kit.
I
That's
mean, to
very
be
nice.
fair, though, the resin conversions aren't that expensive. I think they're like,
resin conversions are actually pretty decent too.
yeah, they're like 50 USD, I think, which is fairly decent.
I mean, it does vary quite a bit in 35th scale. I know quite a few companies have actually done it, so we're pretty lucky from
Mm-hmm.
that standpoint. If you are looking to make Ram tanks in 35th scale and you don't necessarily want to do the Bronco kit, which is right now kind of the only game in town for like an out of the box build, has anyone here ever read Panzer Sarah Bunker?
I love his stuff.
Yeah. So if you look him up, he's this blogger. I think is he from Spain?
Portugal.
Portugal. Thank you. But yeah, he's an incredibly talented modeler. He does a lot of Canadian stuff, and these are 2 Ram models he's worked on.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah. You will note that this is a Mark 1. It's got the 2-pounder, and this is a later model. I think it's a Mark 2. Yeah.
And he kept it doctrinal, as in that's a proper command vehicle, not an actual like what if scenario gun.
Yeah, so these are both gun tanks. However, on the next slide, this is one that he did. This is the command vehicle.
Nice.
So I
Yeah, that
think if
looks
you're
more
building
like
a model, you can actually see the differences a bit better. You see you've got the telephone wire. The hatch is a little bit different, I think. Yeah, but it's pretty clear it's a dummy gun on this.
Yeah. That
Now,
what was the flamethrower one called again?
Wasp. A
This is
badger.
the
Badger.
The Badger. So that's the bottom right one. That looks awesome.
Yes. Right now, I think the best kit for this right now is the one by Formations, and
Mhm.
basically you just need to have like have a M3 Lee or whatever kit as your base. You could definitely use the Bronco Ram though as your base, and it's I think 50 Canadian dollars, and you get all of the parts you're going to need.
It's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Although it doesn't look like it's got flamethrower on the front.
Yeah,
It
that
looks
is
like
one
it's still
thing
got the
that-
30.
Yeah.
Well, you could probably just
gosh,
kit
that's
bash
really
one.
neat looking.
Yeah, I mean, I know Rich, that company from China, I believe, they make the Wasp Mark II, which is one that Canadians use. So you could even take that universal carrier kit, do a bit of kit bashing, mix that with the formations resin, and then you could have a full interior Badger, which would be pretty cool. And then on the top here, we have a Kangaroo.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the Kangaroo, unfortunately, there's not really much you can do. It's mostly just scratch building.
Isn't there a formations kit?
There might be. There definitely might be.
You know, there is something special about scratch building kits out of like vehicles out of other kits and whatnot. Like,
True.
like look at that. Like that's just. It looks like a proper kit,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not.
my Grizzly Firefly.
Yeah, Ezra, why didn't you add a slide in about that?
I should have.
Oh, Dennis, he added a slide, all right. He added a slide.
Oh,
It
God.
didn't pop up though, but he
Didn't
added a
pop
slide.
up.
Oh no. I'm afraid to click the next slide.
Don't.
Oh, no,
It's you already passed it. You're fine.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Just keep going. It's not even
No,
that
you know
bad.
what? No, screw it. I'm clicking now here, and I'm going to refresh.
It's not even bad.
You modeled it off Dennis, didn't you? Ezra?
Yeah. Wait,
Look what
no.
you've made.
That picture, I've posted it in the anime one before.
Are you?
But
You are kidding me, right? You're kidding me, right, Ezra?
I
Viewers,
need to-
we just want you to know that this. We hope you have enjoyed Mr. Ezra on the podcast because he's now going to get crucified.
You remember, Ezra, how when we started making this podcast, it used to begin not with a cold open, but with actionable threats against you?
Oh yeah.
Well, time to make good on those.
No. No, just wait until I modify it so it's femboy you sitting in the turret.
Oh, God.
Okay, I can approve of that.
People are going to start thinking that that's actually true.
That's the idea.
I mean, imagine one of these rolling around England in 1943 and you see the commanders wearing the pink cat girl headphones.
I would not be upset when the Germans pop their top. So you go.
That's
on.
if the Germans. That's if the Germans could even do that because the Ram is such an OP tank.
No,
I see what
no,
you did
they
there.
they could do it. Have you heard of the Flak 88?
No.
Have
but
you
what-
heard about you being a wereaboo?
Yeah.
I
Insinuating
thought
that
was you.
somehow an allied tank could be knocked out it's just no, that's wereabouism.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, here we go.
So yeah, that is the RAM. Now, Ezra, you made this slide.
Yes, this is just. I actually couldn't find any movies the Ram was in, but it is in 3 games made by Gaijin. So we have the M4A 5 in War Thunder, and then just 2 regular Ram 2s in World of Tanks and World of Tanks Blitz. I actually have the Ram 2 in World of Tanks Blitz, and it is very nice. I have bounced.
Is it just like a low res picture or something? That Ram 2 looks just a little bit weird.
It looks
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's pulled a Greg and drank some of the oil from the oil spill.
It looks like it's
Doesn't know
squished a
what's
bit.
going on.
I
Looks like it's been
don't think
squished.
it's. Which one? Which
Oh,
pick?
The Blitz one.
I don't think so.
I will say this: in War Thunder, the RAM is absolutely overpowered because where it sits in the American tech tree, if you have it, having that quick firing 6-pounder makes you almost invincible, and it can take a lot of damage.
Yeah, the Ram 2 is pretty OP in Blitz as well. You've like a 3-second reload, I think, and a fair
my
amount
God.
of hit points.
Which is completely accurate to real life.
Yes. I mean, you can laugh at hit points, but this has a lot of them.
So that was the RAM, and we have a segment on this podcast called "A Hill to Die On," where one of us comes on with a horrible take, and then he gets crucified for it. And this week we have Greg. Yay!
All right. So my hill to die on this week is a somewhat of a controversial topic in the Discord. So
Boo.
real quick to
Go,
give y'all
Greg.
a little advertisement. If you want to get on some controversial topics like this one, hop in the Discord. But to give you a little taste, my hot take is that not official resin, but recast figures are not as bad as people say, and I actually prefer them over the real thing. So there you go.
I
That is a
mean,
bold take. That is probably the best take we've had on a while.
but listen, their quality might be fine, but it's on your conscience that you're not actually buying it from the company. That's,
Why do I care though?
I guess that's fair.
If I may call attention to the photo I posted, Ezra, I think here's the argument why recasting is morally okay. If
Look,
you're
I'm
Black Dog,
23 and I live in California. Okay,
like
there's a reason I'm okay with the cheaper option.
I think it's insulting that for 2 Canadian tank figures, you're expected to pay what, almost $70 USD, not even Canadian.
Yeah,
$70 USD
yeah,
You
I
got me
guess.
fucked
figures
up.
of somewhat mediocre quality.
Meanwhile, I bought 11 figures plus shipping for $30, and they are amazing detail.
I mean, if you want to sell your soul for those figures, that's fine. You have a point though. I would buy recast figures. I've done it in the past.
I mean, hey, to each his own, man. Honestly, like if you want to support that company and whatnot, go for it. But me personally, I like saving money where I can so I can buy more.
Yep.
And yeah, the quality on some of the recasts, the quality may not be there as much, and sometimes they're a little more frail or fragile.
Mhm.
But if you've got, especially for more seasoned modelers like us, if you have the patience and whatnot to actually do it right, then it's definitely a good deal.
Bold
Actually,
of you to suggest I'm a seasoned modeler.
Boy, have you seen your work?
I know, it's pretty sweet. Okay, actually, the stowage I bought for my shot cal is recast. I didn't know it until it showed up.
No.
I know. I
No.
felt kind of bad, but I don't care.
Okay,
It was
guys,
only-
get the pitchforks, get the black tar. We're gonna go after us for now.
Get him.
It was like a weird like pink color when really it should be white.
Well, I mean, I do see the argument like that from a kind of an ethical standpoint. You shouldn't be supporting recasters because
Exactly, right.
It is true. Like I run a little side hustle in the hobby industry, and definitely I don't think I would like it very much if I knew that sort of every time I released a new product, people would just immediately make copies of it. So yeah, I think it does hurt the manufacturers to a certain extent. But you also have to ask yourself, but if the manufacturers were charging decent, reasonable prices, would this problem even exist then?
No.
Well, if you can get someone who does a recast and can still sell them cheaper, it's like, well, then the prices can come down a little bit.
It's that big corporate mindset right there. Because, like, for example, like Dennis posted, the Black Dog 135 Canadian Army tank crewman Afghan. Like, yeah, modern figures, especially tank crewmen, are kind of rare. But who in their right fucking mind is gonna pay damn near $50? And it's on sale too. Oh
I
my
was gonna
god,
say,
yeah.
it's normally $70, and that's USD.
That's just way too much. Like you could buy like this M8 Greyhound set from Tamiya I got for like $40. A whole
Yeah,
kit.
exactly.
You could
Exactly.
buy a nice kit for that money.
Yeah. It's just
You could buy
it's
an
ridiculous.
old, nice tooled Tamiya Tiger for that.
Oh god.
You could buy.
Now,
way
I'm
more
not
than
saying go buy a Tamiya Tiger, but
Wearaboo.
Are you sure about that?
go get the Sherman. It's a better. It's nice.
There you
Their
go.
Sherman 105 has always had a special place in my heart.
I've never built it.
Oh, it's nice. It's
Mm.
classic. It's nice. Yeah,
What
sorry.
do you think,
Anyways,
Callum?
where were we?
Well, like for me over here, I even struggle to get, stuff like figures like that. So I'll take a recast any day because, like, New Zealand, trying to find stuff like that. Like, I was trying to find a 32nd scale Royal Flying Corps pilot for my Sopwith Camel, and there is literally none in this entire country. Like, I searched every single New Zealand site and every single store, all that. There is none at all. So so to try and order overseas, it's stupid expensive. So I'm all for recast right now, just because prices are just kind of stupid high.
Y'all
Yeah,
know
that's
those
fair.
Ukraine figures I got for the Dio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think out of all of them, I think 7 of them are recast, and they've got just great detail. It's like you got to pick and choose. It's like picking and choosing your battles. You got to pick and choose what's good, and you got to look into it. Because I get the whole like some recasting things like come broken or they're like stupid frail or whatnot, and it is kind of shitty that they're taking what a company is making and I mean helping out the model community in my opinion, but it's
Yeah,
just
like
like you can't beat the pricing.
Yeah, like there are some things like that you will spend the money on. A decent kit. You look at it, it's like, okay, this kit is like $120, but it's spectacular. Yeah, I'll go for it. But then it's like, okay, I've got this kit that I've spent $30 on. I just need some figures for it, and the figures are more expensive than the whole kit you bought for it. It's
Okay, that's like building. That's like trying to build a legitimate Canadian Leopard 2A6M can in Afghanistan. You
have
need to
like
buy
$10 billion on Barracuda.
Yeah, the Barracuda resin set is I think what like $120.
It's $120 USD on sale. Like it's normally more than that now.
Or you can
I'll
find
make mine
it-
out of cardboard.
Actually, you can find it at on scale model something or other for I think £97.
I would wait and start going to shows to see if a vendor's selling it for a good
Dude,
price.
I did that. Believe me, if I see one for less than $100, I'm getting it no matter what.
Yeah,
That is
but it's
one
like, come on, we spend enough on models as it is,
Yep.
And it's like I don't know if you guys ever read some of the magazines like to me a Model Monthly or all of those Scale Model International. But in most magazines nowadays, they have like these little things, these little info boxes near where the editor's messages on the front page. It's talking about how you should not buy recasts, right? You should always buy the legit product.
Yep.
And it's like, I think the experience of trying to build Canadian models, like say if you want to build a late model Lab 3 with the Lorent package, you need to get the real model update set for that. If you want to make a Canadian Leopard, you need to get the Black Dog resin set for the Barracuda. The thing is, like, I think modelers generally would want to support the manufacturers like Alpine or Black Dog and so on and so forth. If they only charged decent prices, if they had good shipping options.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, they charge a lot, considering that there's people usually from China, but also from other countries who are more than willing to just take that initial financial hit and then redistribute it to the community at a much lower cost.
Well,
It's like a homie hookup.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've
Well,
just
actually, speaking of magazines, somebody dropped me off today a Scale Modeler magazine from July 1980.
Those are the best.
I can't wait to read it.
Dude, like reading just even the advertisements and seeing how things used to be where you could
exactly. Seeing how different the styles are.
Oh my gosh, they used to advertise photo etch makers, like desktop photo etch
that's
machines.
cool.
Oh my gosh, those were the days.
This says it's including plans for this one aircraft in 1/32nd scale.
Oh, that's what they used to do. Because
I
scratch built everything back then.
Exactly.
I have a bunch of issues of Scale Modeler International. I think that's what's called. No, sorry, it's Fine Scale Modeler. from the
Oh,
90s.
fine skill, yeah.
And in each article, they would have, say, if someone's doing a scratch build part for a tank or an aircraft, they would have the plans in various scales. So 1 to 72, 1 to 35, and then you could just copy them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit, I think the Legend ADATS conversion is worth paying the $100 for. Like, it's cast extremely well. But I don't know.
Yeah, I've just noticed that Canadian Army tank picture. Normal $70 US plus about $18 for shipping. Yeah, that's bit price. That's a bit pricey.
Yeah.
Think about how much money we spend on the hobby, right? Even if you do, like, let's say you build like average price kits, like 5 average price tanks a year, right? Including the paint.
Just 5?
Well, let's keep it like, let's keep it on the down low or the low, right? The low end of things.
I mean, that's still probably like $2K.
Yeah, the paint, the airbrush, the kits, all the stuff if you're making dioramas. You spend a lot of money on this stuff. And if I mean, hell, if you've got the money to spend $80 on this stuff and it not bother you, I mean, hey, more power to you. Like, good on you. But it's just most of us, right,
Exactly.
are like a little more on the poor side compared to a lot of I don't want to
And
I
that's
don't
why
want to
you
say
need
we're
to-
all poor.
That's why you need to donate to the Micro Machines Podcast Patreon.
Well, that kind of also goes towards getting into the industry, getting into modeling. See, like I was at my local last year. I was at my local hobby store, and there was a kid who was looking to build his first one, and he was looking at he was actually looking at the Tamiya 105 M4, and for
Good
some
lad.
reason, my local doesn't really display a lot of prices on their stuff. And you can see it was definitely his first time buying and stuff like that. So he grabbed it, convinced his mum, I want this one, and all that. Go up to the counter, and the guy's like, yeah, that's about $80. And they're like, oh,
What? They charge that much for that kit?
yeah. And the kid's mom's just like, nope, nah, not doing it. So the kid basically
so
went home
sad.
empty-handed.
I know,
was
the
like,
poor kid.
If I had the money, I would have gone like, here, I'll buy it for you just to get you started. But yeah,
Little
Poor
kids
kid.
deserve to have armored fighting vehicles in their lives.
I know, he probably went back home and started playing Fortnite. Because he had nothing better to do.
Well, I mean, say what you will, but I just had a guy come into the store today, and he bought a 1 to 32 scale Corsair.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Oh,
oh,
yes.
so you're pretty, you're into the modeling. And he said, no, this is my first one.
Oof.
I just kind of looked
Oh,
at him. I
wow.
was like, do I tell him? Because he knew the price and everything. I was like, do you know how complex this is going to be?
Yeah, those aren't cheap, right? Aren't they like
They,
$120?
In Canada, they generally go for around $150-ish.
Ooh.
Oof. You're just looking at him, it's like, good luck, mate. Jesus.
I was like,
Deep
you know
end
what?
right there.
More power to you. I wish I had your confidence. And I told him straight up, follow the instructions. YouTube everything. You'll be fine. It's a Tamiya kit. You can't mess it up.
And then I'll see you in about 6 months when you finish.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Godspeed.
I've got a question, Dennis. Is there a chance you could possibly like advertise in a way the podcast or anything there?
No. At least not as it currently stands, because it's basically I'm not going to disclose anything about where I work. I'm just going to share funny anecdotes. I mean,
Very well.
one day, you know what? I will say this. I tell people all the time about the podcast when I'm working. And I know that at least a few armor modelers in the Ontario area are definitely listening to us now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know what you should do?
So,
Just get a whole bunch of like business cards with just our podcast
Oh
on it.
yeah.
And every time someone buys one, just slip it into the box. Just be like, yep.
Slip it in, yeah.
Just be like, oh, by the way, yeah.
I could do
would
that.
like
I might
to,
actually do that.
in this show, the IPMS show in San Diego, it has 55 vendors, so it's a big show. I want to be able to take something to either pass out or at least display the podcast.
You know what? I might actually make business cards for us. I've got card stock for my printer. I've got a nice straight line cutter. You know, I might do that. That's a good idea, actually.
Actually, yeah. Then just go to a show with a whole bunch of them, and then just like slip them into people's pockets, or like go to a vendor. Like when the vendor's
As
not
you
looking,
slip
just
the
put
wallet
a
out of there. You slip the podcast sticker in.
Or like you go up to a vendor's table, and when they're not looking, you just put like a small pile right in the middle of the table.
He's making it rain with MMP business cards.
Because like the way we advertise online is good, right?
Yeah, but we need more.
We need more. I mean, I say we need more. It would help us grow more, right? Being able to, and not only that, but having someone in person. Like, let's say you go to a show, right, and you get to meet a member of a podcast. That's like,
Right.
they're advertising their shit. It makes it a little more personal, you know.
Yeah, like I was trying to get a bit more with contacting the Plastic Posse, but they've just left me on red now. I might start
The whole thing about threatening to fight them.
I think I might.
But we can
start-
take them.
Yeah, I might start
You're just
harassing
thinking
on the
brave
bench
as well.
next. Yeah, I'm gonna start harassing the on the bench guys. Yeah, they're
Do it.
next.
Hey, the worst they can say is no and leave us on red.
Yeah,
No, you
sir.
threatened to hurt the Plastic Posse after they gave you a shout out over pizza of all things.
I'll go harass like the Model Geek podcast or whatever on my our Instagram.
Actually,
Just
yeah,
gonna
just
start,
spam out a whole lot of messages using the the Instagram account.
Wait, no, Dennis. Do I dare message the one podcast that we idolize?
Well,
Which
there's
one?
your problem.
Well, there's your problem.
I mean, honestly, considering that we're slowly becoming less and less like a clone of their podcast, I'd say, yeah, that you should
Yeah.
do it.
Well,
I
I
will-
I run the
well-
Twitter account and I follow them. They're the only thing I follow.
yeah. Well, honest, Ezra, you can probably
Hmm.
soften the deal with. You can sweeten the deal with them by saying that I am like the industry they talk about. I am actually in. You know, I am
Oh,
part
so
of the
that's
industry,
true.
so that's your
Yeah.
that's your in. Yeah,
You're a fellow,
civil engineer.
civil engineer.
I would love to talk about like tanks and civil engineering.
Oh, that'd
That'd
be
be
so
awesome.
cool.
I am so in the dark right now of what's being talked about.
Oh, we're talking about probably one of the funniest, best podcasts ever made.
Greg, I'll send you some links for your listening.
No,
and
Greg, you've
doing
listened
everything.
to one of their episodes. They did the V-22 Osprey.
Oh, those guys! Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, those guys were fucking funny. I had a blast with that episode.
I know.
Roz and or Alice, if you guys are listening right now, we love you. Please have us on the show. We'll talk about civil engineering.
And Ospreys.
Yeah. Greg can get high on air in the oil slick.
Not in the Ospreys, just in the Stallions. But we can talk about those too.
Well, what
Oh, I was
wacky
at my-
uncharacteristic thing would you do with the Osprey?
What's up?
What wacky and uncharacteristic thing would you do for the views in an Osprey?
Well, it wouldn't be very uncharacteristic. I mean, the thing goes down all the time, so just a crash landing.
Oh, there you go.
I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd hook a unarmored Humvee underneath it and use it as a battering ram to go smash into ISIS fighters.
Humvee to the face.
Actually, speaking of stallions, when I was at my state golf tournament, which we placed last out of last, thank you very much.
Dang.
Right as we finished, I think 3 or 4 sea stallions flew over our head, and I just start screaming, "Oh look, something 53s!"
Greg!
And I was so happy with myself that they CH53s, right? No, is it?
Yeah. Or something,
Yeah.
something. We call them 53s. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I said AH-53s or CH-53s, but I was yelling one of them, and everyone just looking at me like, yeah. I was happy,
They
though.
really should have turned those into gunships. That was a lost opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised we didn't. There's a lot of room in there. Like, you can fit a whole platoon of dudes, plus, like, you know those, like, go-kart tactical jeeps that we have now? I forgot what they're called.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can fit, like, 2 of those in that bitch, plus a whole platoon of guys.
that's pretty cool.
See,
They're fucking huge.
all they got to do is just have a 105 howitzer just aiming out the back of the ramp.
Oh, God.
Do a drive-by.
Or just push a Humvee out the back if they can even. No, those. Never mind. They can't fit Humvees. Fuck. Disregard.
I mean, they might be able to. I mean, do a little pull up the seats a little bit, and you might be able to.
It's probably true.
Wow.
But I don't know. I just rode in them to point A to point B. I didn't actually work on them or anything, so.
You weren't that special.
Fuck no. Me special? Yeah, right.
Aw, you're special to us.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Well, that was the hill to die on. I think we were all in agreement. Please continue to support the illegal recasting industry.
Yes.
And support
Yes.
and give money to us so that we don't have to, and then we can offload all of that ethical guilt onto you guys.
Wait, do we still have that pirated STL file thing still up?
Quiet. Boy, quiet.
We do not have any pirated STLs. Thank you very much.
Ah, I see.
Because piracy is a crime, and we would not do that because that's unethical.
Right. The only piracy we believe in is stealing Russian tanks.
We don't believe in any piracy. Dude, this is going to be public.
No, all I said we just believe in stealing Russian tanks.
It's not stealing if they just left it behind. Okay? They abandoned it.
that's
It's
true.
like a puppy. It's like an
Yeah.
abandoned puppy. You take it in
I've
and
got
take
the
care of it.
salvage rights on these STL files.
Yeah, but Dennis, just go ahead and change the Google Drive account's password.
Yeah,
Just,
you know what? We're not giving public. Here's the thing: if you wanted to join the Discord for public access to the STLs on the Google Drive, no more.
Too bad.
Even though they were all
Yes.
legally purchased. Nah.
That is true. Yeah. Wait, I think my Cope Cage file is on there.
Oh my god.
No, but I actually designed that, okay?
Actually,
So
I've
pirated
designed a
off
few
you.
things on. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind you pirating it off of me. I
You
only
know
spent,
what,
like,
to even
16
the
hours?
store, everybody, please join our Discord. Pirates the files that Ezra and I made, and then we'll kind of be, like the universe will be right again.
Yeah.
Yes. It'll even
Wait,
out
which-
the oh fuck, excuse me, I'm sorry. Ah, fuck.
Thanks for bleeping yourself there.
I actually forgot what I was saying too. Shit.
Wait, Dennis, which STLs did you make?
The ones for the ERA bricks.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot wait to get those. Oh my god.
Don't pull on me, Dennis. Ship them off. Do them as quick as you can.
I shipped them in the padded envelopes you can get from Canada Post. I just slapped 6 permanent stamps on there, and I'm praying that that's enough. Because Canada Post doesn't actually want to tell me how much they want. Yeah. So
My
we'll see.
printer is still down. I need to strip it back down and. Ugh.
Well, speaking of
Hopefully
what
by
we're
the
up
next
to-
podcast I can pull up the ERA bricks as a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
And speaking of works in progress, here's our works in progress this week.
And leading into our topic that we're talking about, the
How
RAM.
relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a Sexton that I 3D printed maybe 5 or 6 months ago in 1/100 scale. As you can see, it is quite tiny.
Is it a Sexton 1 or a Sexton 2?
Oh, it's a Sexton 2. It's about as late as you get. It has CDP tracks.
Oh, look, it's got
Strengthened
the
bogeys.
it's got the M4 bogeys.
No. It has strengthened bogeys.
Oh, hold on. Those stars aren't canted, though.
My reference pictures didn't show them canted. I know. I thought about it as I put them on.
That looks amazing for 1/100 scale.
Thank you. I can't wait to start weathering it. And if you look super, 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 super closely, you can see my 1 to 100 scale scratch built Lee Enfield rifle.
Oh my god, you're right. There it is. Wow.
Bro, you should have added a closer picture of that because that thing is fucking tiny and detailed.
I mean, it's not as tiny as your little aircraft you did for your diorama, but thank you.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I can't wait to start weathering it. It's going to be fun. I might even do a
Although-
small little... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, this will be a good one to send into ammo. Just don't send it with the AK bottle underneath it.
Yeah, block that out.
Like the email you get in the response is just like a bunch of Spanish curse words.
Oh,
Dennis.
maybe I should reach out to AK. Be like, you should give me a sponsorship.
Oh, that's what you do. You say, you should give me a sponsorship because I'm in talks with Ammo right now.
Oh, yes.
And you just lie to Ammo and say I'm in talks with AK right now.
And then neither of them give you a sponsorship.
Yeah, and then they just go, yeah, sure. They're just like, yeah, go with them.
And Dale.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, real quick. If I add a picture to one of my work in progress slides, could you refresh it when you get to
Yeah,
it?
sure.
Awesome, thank you.
I honestly might just DM the Ammo with Make Instagram my entire resume and then a link to my PDF I made for my folder of pictures.
See, you have one little problem there if you do that.
What?
Well, what if they just leave you on red? It's like they read it and it's like, nah.
They've already left me on red. It's not the first time.
Hey, we got to get to the third time the charm, all right?
True. I've sent in a bunch of pictures to them to post on their story, and they do it almost every time. So, I mean, at least they're looking at me.
Okay, picture's updated. Or slide is
Alright.
updated.
Word.
Ah.
Here's
Shot cow with recast stowage. I am
Hashtag
still
recasting.
working. I'm still working on the base for it. I made it thicker, as you can see. I'm in the process of painting every single tiny rock on the base. I have some static grass in the mail. And yeah, I might add an IDF tanker leaning up against it. We'll see. Other than that, I'm really happy with how it's coming out. It's going to look great.
You
Yeah,
should
very
definitely
nice,
get
man.
a recast IDF tanker and put on there.
I will. No, I don't want to wait 2 months for it to come from China, though.
Damn. That hurts.
Yeah, you're right. Wait 3 months for it to come from the Czech Republic.
You know what? If I can find one for cheap, I'll do it.
Attaboy.
Yeah. I think that's... Yeah, there we go.
Perfect. All right. On to my normal 3 slides because I do too much. So slide number 1, it's I just finished my Ukraine house for this Ukraine diorama. It's from Wish, and I did a full interior build using resin furniture and a shit ton of scratch building.
That's fucking fantastic.
I like
Oh
the
my model
MMP.
tank.
It's us.
I like the MMP posters. Good touch.
Thank you.
Wait, where?
Above the bed
and
and
on
on the wardrobe.
Oh, that's so cool.
I try
gotta
to
say,
make
I'll-
this as accurate to a modern day teenage boy's room that would be in Ukraine. So I did a lot of like Ukrainian music posters, Stalker 2s from Ukraine. On the bed poster or on the bed right there, you can see pictures of like a girl and then a couple. Try to make that like his girlfriend and their couple picture.
It's Val.
Hmm.
Oh my god, that actually kind of does look like Val, doesn't it?
Look,
From
I've
far
got to be
away.
honest. If I had to imagine Val's house, I would imagine like this, but like a modern German architecture, and then
Yeah.
just this bedroom.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, the
Val,
fan
we found where
scratch
you
bill,
live.
the bed scratch, or not the bed, but the bed sheet, the pillows, the curtains, the little miniature airplane and tank diorama, the ceiling fan, all that scratch built. And then the figures right there, I just took that photo. I'm making the old-fashioned Ukrainian camo for my Ukrainian volunteers for the diorama.
Nice. I have to say, the bed sheet and the curtains are just tits. They look so good.
Thank you.
I'm just in love with these posters. Like, those just add so much. And
I
the
really
Yeah,
tried.
especially I can't wait till we get to the next slide. I have some stuff to say.
dude, you're gonna take this to the show in San Diego, and like people are just gonna stare at it for hours because like there are all these little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's even do you see the calendar on the right hand side? It's March 22.
Oh my
Oh,
lord!
fuck.
Oh.
Got a Ukrainian
Wait.
fighter jet. There's a Ukrainian UFC fighter, and underneath the MMP poster on the wardrobe and all sorts of stuff.
Where do you find the goddamn time, man? Jesus, I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
So this guy works full time too.
I haven't
Yeah.
even touched a model in like 3 months, 3 weeks.
Wait. Go back to the last picture. Is that tip torn off the glove? Is that your finger there? I've been staring at it for the last 30 seconds trying to figure out what it is.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
characteristically looking for the finger pics.
Yes, dude. He is.
No, Dennis is the only one here who will remember
straight
this.
to horny jail.
But remember when we were talking in on the Great Canadian Campaign about the toes?
Oh yeah.
Because there was a picture of Mead's toes in one of these pictures.
I'm gonna resell those. Mark my words. I'm gonna make a fortune off of those.
Oh god, recasting toe pictures.
For 2 days, we were talking about nothing but toes and bad puns.
Oh lord. All right.
Dude,
well,
that-
here's part 2. It's the attic and close-ups of the exterior. I try to make this look like because this is supposed to be kind of based to the northeast of Mariupol, so older Eastern European houses in these little villages, and of course paint would be old, start chipping off and whatnot, and then of course the attic is full of old paintings, model kits, boxes of newspapers and kits, and some old rugs, and a little bucket of like old a teacup, some dishes and whatnot.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, the amount of detail here is staggering.
Yeah.
Notice the Star Destroyer over Rome painting.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep, that's cool.
I'm just looking at all the model kit that you've got there. I'm just trying to guess all of them because I can see Pershing.
Right.
35. Is that a super fortress in the box?
In the center box, I think so. Yeah.
Greg, I can see the King Tiger that you built. The back.
Yeah, the King Tiger.
Yep.
Which is an Airfix
Yeah.
B-17.
I had a lot of fun doing the attic portion. Like I built the cardboard boxes out of chipboard, and dude, I love chipboard. I'm so glad I discovered that shit because that's what I made like the little airplane and tank dio out of.
Yeah.
And whatnot. This is so great.
Oh,
Same
is
with the
that
cell
it?
phone too?
Is that an Airfix Firefly?
It's M4 Sherman, I think. If
Ah.
I remember correctly.
Oh, and what's the one on the left? The figure one. It's the figure
The
set.
left-hand side to the left of the R35.
No. Next to the Sherman. You got.
Oh, that's Tamiya American Infantry European Infantry from World War
Huh.
II.
Huh.
I've got that kit.
There's so much detail packed in this. It's awesome.
Thanks, fellas. I really enjoy it.
I think, Greg, you might be like the most imaginative builder on
I was gonna
the
say,
Discord
that's probably
server.
the most creative thing I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
And you've only been doing this for how long again?
I actually hit my year mark early May.
I want to just call
Happy
bullshit
birthday.
on that. Jesus.
Yeah.
This is like 10 years. Come on.
Yeah, it has to be.
Y'all are too kind. Well,
I just
here's
feel
my
bad.
last. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just feel bad because I'm in like my 3rd year, and I'm nowhere near that
Oh,
sort
dude,
of
look at the
detail.
camel you just did, bro.
Yeah, that camel's beautiful.
Like
Yeah.
if you sat me down with that exact kit, you gave me the same amount of time to do it, it wouldn't be anywhere near that. I promise you.
Oh, cheers.
I'm definitely an armor builder. I suck at airplanes. But,
Actually,
this
new
is my.
new group build idea: a subject you suck at.
That's
Airplanes.
actually a good idea.
Yeah, I do that.
I just want to see Ken Medic do a wingy thing.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
He'd come up with like some super witty excuse not to.
Yeah.
He would. All right. Well, speaking of recasting and Can Medic, my last slide is kind of showing off my next diorama idea. Since I'm stuck in Cali, I'm going to go ahead and go with it. It's going to be a M8 in Italy, kind of on a mountain pass, and all these figures are from AliExpress. You see on the bottom. Most of them, I believe, are recast, except for the 2 Germans are on the far right. I think those are original Tusk. Or no. The German SS is Tusk model. The rest are recast. But,
SS.
Yeah. Well, he'll be lying dead in the street. There'll be a KIA American, kind of off to the side, covered with a tarp, while the Germans there dig a grave, and the captain calling for fire with the crew member looking with his binos, calling in artillery, while American infantry and the other crewmen watch the Germans dig this grave next to this like stone, what do you call it, stone wall and whatnot. Since the M8 is a scout car, used a lot for FO work, so I wanted to add that, and going after Can Medic's idea using the Greyhound and of course recasting. So, and then of course my new prized possession. I love the podcast so much. I bought myself an MMP mug.
That's pretty sweet.
We
That's
really
nice.
need to
See-
get like merch figured out.
It's
Yeah.
even updated too.
I know. I've still got the old one with Christian on it, not Greg.
Rip, breaking my heart,
Version
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, I got I got the early version.
bro.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's special too, man, because like it's OG.
Oh, it's going to be a
Yeah.
one of a kind. I'm gonna have the only one of a kind one. Yeah. You know, it's funny. Having the American calling in the artillery just reminds me of a joke that was told by I think it was a French veteran,
Send it.
and it goes. He was asked, "How do you identify in the war zone who's out there? You know, like you see a group of soldiers. How do you identify who they are?" He says, "You just fire a shot over them, and then you wait for the response." He said, "If you were met with concentrated rifle fire, they were British. If it was a hailstorm burst of machine gun, they were German. If they all ran away, they were Italian. And if nothing happened for half an hour and suddenly it rained artillery, they were American."
Facts, dude. We rely heavily on fucking IDF.
What would it be
So
if it were
much.
Canadian?
Canadian is war crime.
If they shoot you without
And if it's French, if it's French, they just surrender.
Oh, that's exciting,
But,
right?
Yeah, I'm excited to work on it, man. This is going to be a fun build. I've been looking forward to working on the Greyhound. I'm going to take about a solid probably 3 weeks to actually do it good too.
This is what I've been up to.
Ooh.
Oh my god, this is
That
just turning
that second pick with the tree looks so good.
this is
Dude,
turning
it
into a
does.
monster of a project. But I'm pushing ahead with the Sharpie 1 diorama. I've basically we're beginning to reach the beginning of the end here. I've base coated everything. I've made the trees. I've base coated everything in my tire black. Ezra doesn't like how I've left the sides. I'm okay with it. I'm going to give this kind of a plant theme to the diorama because like the tank's got plants painted on it.
You know, if
So
that's
I
fair.
might actually end up having like little shrubs and roots like poking out of the diorama walls. I'm
That
not
would be
sure.
cool.
But yeah, otherwise, the big thing now is obviously mounting the trees and the creek. I'm not sure how I'm going to approach the creek yet.
I'm sure
Excuse me.
whatever you do, it's gonna look great, dude.
Well, I've got the epoxy resin for it. My only concern is the dam. I don't want my dam to fail along the sides to keep the resin from spilling. But
A word of
we-
advice from someone who's fucked up like that: definitely elevate your diorama. That way, if you leave it overnight, it doesn't spill out and stick to the table.
Oh, that's a good
that
idea.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, thank you for the tip.
Yeah.
You should watch Plasma Plastic Models video with his sunken KV2.
I'll
Oh,
do
that
that,
thing's
yeah.
amazing. That thing's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, but basically, it's also that, and also my inner safety nerd is like reading the list of chemicals in the AK resin, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to turn my fume extractor on for that, and wear my P100, and wear gloves. But yeah,
You'll be
hopefully it turns out
fine.
all right. Yeah, I'll be fine as I proceed to then huff TS paint.
What's wrong with that, bro?
You'll find out.
The pink closet.
Hey, that's like a
Your
that's a
closet,
problem
that's
for
right.
like 10 years on, Dennis. You know,
Mhm.
right now you're fine.
You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna be, building the new Tamiya Tiger tank in like 20 years, and then you're gonna start like coughing up pink shit.
Let's go drop dead.
He died doing what he loved, building a
that would be
tiger.
cool, yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I think one day soon, the Sharby 1 saga will come to a conclusion.
Dude, it's
Started
the
back in,
Sharby one by
January.
itself is just beautiful, but
Mhm.
especially with those trees like that's just immaculate, man.
Oh yeah, with
thank
those
you.
2 trees, it looks professional.
And I've also added in like other shrubs because I didn't want it to just be the trees. I've also added some shrubs and such for around them, just to kind of populate the area a bit more. But I'm going with the whole night shift technique of first painting everything black and then picking out the details.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
How's that working for you?
I mean it worked pretty well with the other diorama I tried doing it on. I think it's not just like the hype. It does definitely work. I will be playing a lot with like a yellow and green filter for this, just to try and make everything look a bit more happy and vibrant.
Happy little bushes.
Yeah, exactly.
Channel your inner Bob Ross.
About to say the Bob Ross of fucking dioramas over here.
Yeah.
We'll put a happy little Sharby one right about there.
See, the
Ah,
only
yes.
I was
Oh,
going to say
continue.
the only work in progress I have is I bought a new kit just as an experiment. I bought a 1:16 Tamiya German machine gunner.
Oh, cool.
Decided going to try and do a 16th scale figure. So
Have
no
you
idea
started
when
it yet?
I'll
Or
get
no?
no. I have no idea when I'll get around to any of this. I've still got the Japanese SPG. I've got the Mark IV tadpole. Yeah. Actually, I bought that tadpole in episode 1, and I haven't even touched it since.
Oh my.
Nice.
I wonder what episode
Well-
we'll be at when I finally crack it open.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 110. You'll get there, man, and I'm sure you'll do an amazing job with it.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. On this podcast, I have a segment called Ezra's Interesting Pick. And here we have the IDF's, I don't even know how to describe it. It's your tank driver tank on a budget.
What the fuck?
They done turned the Centurion into a Centurion Kangaroo.
Well, it only fits one extra person. You got your instructor, and then you have the driver.
I love
That's
the
actually
grab
a really
handles.
good idea.
Yeah, I love the grab handles for the instructor though.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, oh fuck, oh fuck. You better hope he doesn't flip the tank, dude, or you're fucked.
or brake too heavily. Teeth will go right
Oh
into
yeah,
that.
you
Just be like,
I
and
imagine
brake,
he's just driving
done.
along a road. And he just slams on the brakes, and he just sees the commander like fly out in front of the tank.
He flies out in front of the tank with a Wilhelm scream.
You
Quick,
better
someone text Ezra.
Hmm.
you better hope that driver backs up and gets the hell out of Dodge, or that instructor's gonna beat his ass.
Oh, hell yeah. So I love the picture of how it's inserted itself into a ditch, and then you can see the tow cables trying to pull it back out.
Oh,
That's funny.
yeah. If you're that driver though, that would have hurt.
Yeah.
Like I'd
I
say
mean,
the front suspension's definitely going to be fucked.
the instructor probably ate a bit of dirt. I can just imagine him going flying straight down.
Oh, you'll
Oh,
see an
dude,
impression of him in the bank on the other side.
You see
A
some
whole
legs
shape
sticking out of the bush.
I want to build this though.
Oh,
This would make
make
a very funny dio.
This would be a good
Mhm.
one.
Yeah. Thanks to Kitmaker for this picture. It's just
Oh,
kind
so
of cool.
Kitmaker is useful for something.
Oh,
Oh no!
That one was deliberate. That one was deliberate.
shoot to kill.
Oh dear.
Oh.
That was my flak 88 round to a Stewart right there.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this, unless anyone else says something.
I just want to make a dio out of it.
Okay, here was my interesting pick I was adding in the beginning that you guys were so scared of.
Where's
Oh,
the
boy.
femboy, Ezra? Where is the
No, I told
Kakarot?
you. I told you it was
Where
nothing
is it?
bad.
Where is it? It's somewhere here.
You've traumatized us. Okay, you've traumatized us. We're just reacting to contact here. That's all it is.
That's fair, I guess, but I'm buying this. The second this is released, like,
I
That's
want
gonna
this.
be tits.
it has a full interior.
No.
Not that there's going to be a lot. I mean, it's the Ontos. There's not a lot inside.
I mean, to be
Yeah, but
fair,
just-
it's 1:16 scale.
Exactly. How cool is that, though? See, TACOM probably heard episode 5.
Say they watched episode 5 and they were like, "No, nobody's made this."
Yeah.
Except for an Academy
like-
kit that was, what, $500?
There. They're like, we have to go make the Subaru Forester of tanks.
Oh God.
That's
Ugh,
really good.
anyways.
I'll make that.
So 1/16th.
Yeah.
How big would that be? Like,
Big as fuck.
No.
I mean, they make 1:16 scale like RC tanks, right? They're
Yeah,
pretty
but
big.
it
Yeah,
looks
but
like it's about the size of a weasel.
yeah, the Ontos is actually like pretty small. I reckon
Yeah.
that a 16 scale Ontos will be about the size of a 35th Sherman.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Well, no, King Tiger.
Yeah,
No,
maybe.
I think it'll be a little bigger than that.
But that's going to be cool. I want that.
Mhm.
We're all.
I'll never get it in New Zealand, but I want it.
Yeah, this is definitely on my wish list. Oh, actually,
Dear Santa.
Yeah.
no. Dear Mr. Tamia.
Nah,
Actually,
we can't do that anymore. I've already pissed him off once.
Oh, right.
Yeah, don't ruin it for the
God,
rest of
in
us,
the face
damn it.
God.
One
I go
thing
down.
I want to do, just
Yeah.
because why not, is the 1-to-1 scale King Tiger shell.
Oh, I
That
saw
would be
that.
neat. That would be really neat.
Practice
I
your
was-
metallics.
I literally put that in a cart just to see what the shipping was. It was like to buy it was $100, and then to ship it to New Zealand was another $100.
Oh,
Oh my
jeez.
God.
I was like, "Oh, you kidding?" Like if it was like 20 or even $30 for shipping, I would have bought it there and then.
Yeah, because it's I don't know. I'd rather if there was a 17-pounder shell. That'd be cool.
Actually, yeah,
I don't know.
There's definitely a lot of interesting subjects that model companies could do. You know, stuff like making shells like that. You know,
Right.
even like a 37 millimeter cannon shell. That would be cool, or something like
I
that.
want a
you know.
1-to-1 scale shillelagh missile.
I want a
What do you mean?
1-to-1 scale Moab.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Be fucking huge.
Yeah.
No,
Actually, I wonder.
I'd rather have a one scale of a Grand Slam. It would take out my entire house.
You know what? Go ahead and send me a 1-to-1 scale of an A10. How about that? I'll just take that.
Yeah.
Just go to Ukraine. They might be sending them over soon. Because I've just signed the Lend-Lease agreement.
Bert.
Well then, does anyone have any announcements to make before?
If you're gonna be at the IPMS show in San Diego June 4th, comment down below. I will happily meet you there. Get to chit chatting.
Yeah, if you're at ArmorCon in late September up in Connecticut, I will definitely chat with you. I don't know why you'd want to. But...
Is all of you guys have probably seen that picture of the T-80 tank the Ukrainians captured and then painted the Fury sign on, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So yeah, the autoloader decals. I'm grabbing this before Edward, Archer or anybody else can do it. Yeah, I'm making that. I will make that decal set.
I'll buy it from you.
I'll do a post on Kitmaker when it's ready. Hit me up if you want
Awesome.
to make the Ukrainian Fury.
Oh, go support Above and Below Graphics. Canadian veteran owned. Oh. You know what? I thought of that and I felt kind of bad.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, go and support Above and Below Graphics.
Their stuff is really nice.
I'm pretty sure they actually are using. I'm not sure. I don't actually know this. I just have a hunch. I have a hunch that they're using the same equipment that Canuck Models in Toronto was using before they went out of business. Like 99% sure they probably bought that stuff up.
Interesting.
Yeah, but shout out to Above and Below Graphics. They're real champs.
Yeah, go support both of you guys.
Shout out to the Micro Machine podcast for doing some good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to us.
Yeah. Otherwise, everyone should try and join our server, our Discord server. Even if you want to just jump on and abuse us for making this, that's all.
Oh yeah, we
mind.
would welcome that.
The more the merrier. Damn it.
It's basically keeping up with the Kardashians, but about scale models.
You get a lot of some fun. Let's see what we got. Work in progress. We got goddamn. We got shit posts, sexy armor, sexy aircraft, all sorts of fun stuff.
Anime.
We've also got the group build if you want to join that as well.
Oh,
that's still going on.
Oh yeah, we are doing that, aren't we?
I totally forgot about it.
Don't say
that. Shows how much we care.
We do have the group build for artillery pieces, so if you want to join us, join the Discord server and we'll let you know the rules and shit like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, Dennis, want to outro us out?
Yeah. Okay, well, if you've come to this point, thank you so much for watching. You have been listening and watching to the Micro Machines podcast. Alrighty. Well, that being said, thanks so much. Have a lovely night. Bye, everyone.
And don't commit war crimes.
Just don't get caught.
Yeah, just don't get caught.
Yeah, get on the winning side.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.